So, good morning, everyone. We'll begin with the reflections on universal well-being. May I abide in well-being, in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may I maintain well-being in myself. May everyone abide in well-being, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may they maintain well-being in themselves. May all be released from all suffering, and may they not be parted from the good fortune they have attained. When they act upon intention, all beings are the owners of their action and inherit its results. Their future is born from such action, companion to such action, and the result will be their home. All actions with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such acts, they will be the heir. So, good morning again. Today, I was thinking of sharing another reflection that I heard recently here at the monastery. In my last sharing, I shared how Guoji talked about seeing the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the sky after volunteering at CDTB. And actually, that story came because I had asked him to share a little bit, because we have a younger generation of men here who maybe haven't had a chance to really meet the community. And I thought, oh, it'd be nice to hear some of your stories. He first was very, you could say, tentative. He said, oh, it's okay, I don't, maybe not. But later next week, or next day, he said, oh no, Dharma Master, I have stories to tell of Master Hua really saving me and helping me. I said, okay, yeah, if you want to share these stories, you can. So he then shared a few stories that I thought were quite interesting. And they're mostly dreams that he had of Master Hua. So one time he was working in he said an apartment complex in Oakland. I think he was fixing it up. And he finished it all, and the PG&E came in to install the gas lines and get things finally finished, so that people can go and live, so for the people living in it. So he said he kind of went back home, worked on another job, and then went back home, because PG&E is usually very thorough, very careful, and he doesn't need to be there to watch them. So he was back home. At night he had a dream. And he's dreaming. Master Hua said to him, people are dying. What are you doing? Why are you just resting here? And Guoji says, what? Who's dying? He said, look, there's a big fire. You need to go take care of it. And Guoji is like, what are you talking about? And he says, Master Hua pulls him, I don't know by what, maybe his clothing or something, and picks him up and flies in the air. He's just like Superman. They fly over to the apartment building area that he was working on. Said, look, there's a big fire. People are dying. And Guoji says, what? So he wakes up. It's early in the morning. And he tells his wife, I have to go check out this apartment building. I just had a dream of Master Hua. So he goes early into the morning to the apartment building. And as he goes there, he goes down the bottom floor where the gas line was, checked out and set up. He realized there was a gas leak. and the whole room downstairs was just filled with gas. So he opened up the doors, opened to get the gas to disperse, and he looked around and he found the problem, and he fixed it. He said, if he hadn't gone in the morning and somebody in the apartment building had, turned on a light or turned on something with electricity or something, it could have caused the whole building to explode. So he said, so this one time Master Hua saved me. Then he said another story. Another story was when he was working on another house, and they were just laying the foundation and everything, and they hadn't got the survey, the kind of exact survey for the house, and the person who was working on the project told him, no, you just follow the fence, because there's houses around, there's a fence, so he's just following the property line on the fence. So he's okay. So he was working on the house, laying the foundation, and in the evening, as he was working on the project, he had a dream of Master Hua. And the house that he was building, Master Hua, he had a dream. In the dream, he was building the house for Master Hua as an offering. And so he had finished the entire house. And then he has Master Hua show up, and he says, Master Hua, here's the house, offering to you. Do you like it? He says, Master Hua looks at it and says to him, no good. Move it over 1 foot. And Guruji in the dream says, what? I just finished the house. You want me to move over that whole house 1 foot? How can I do that? I already finished. So later he wakes up as well. He goes to his job site and he thinks to himself, something's not right. So he asks the person who he's helping build the house for, he says, get me the survey for the land. He says, I don't have it. So look for it. He says, no, really go look for it. I want the exact survey. So the guy looks, finally comes back, and he finds that the survey lines were actually, where the fence was incorrect. That where he had actually built the foundation of the house had already gone onto the other person's property. And it was off exactly by 1 foot. So the second time, Master Hua saved me. It's the third time he was working at the Siddha 10,000 Buddhas with 2 of the monks there. And they were working on a project, I think for the Earth Store Hall. And he said, it was tough. He had some problem with his leg, that he could barely walk. When he walked, he had to actually pick up his own leg to keep walking. So the monks he was working with said, no, you can't be doing this. You have to go get back and get some rest. And also the next day, Guruji often goes with Rev Heng Shure on trips. So he was going to serve as a Dharma protector for Rev Heng Shure on a trip. And so he realized, gosh, I can barely walk. And when I travel with Rev Heng Shure, I have to carry all the luggage, pay attention to what's going on to be a Dharma protector. So he was really worried, what to do. So the 2 monks basically after lunch sent him home, says, you can't work on the job site anymore. Clearly you need to get some rest. So he sent him back. And as Guruji was driving back to the cottage, he stopped the car in front of the patriarch hall. He got out, kind of clumsily walked over to Master Hua's image there, bowed down and kneeled and asked for help. He says, Master Hua, tomorrow I have to go and be a Dharma protector for Rev Heng Shure, but right now I can't even walk. Please help. Please help. He prayed for help. So then he kind of gets back into his car and then drives back to the cottage and lies down and gets some rest. He immediately starts to sleep and he has a dream. He has a dream that he was just walking down to his cottage in CDTB. And this old woman with this kind of bent over with a cane walks by him. And as the woman walks by Guruji, he says this woman grabs Guruji and then pulls him on his leg, like very, very strongly, that he screams, like, what are you doing? Ow, it hurts. And then he wakes up from his dream and, in shock, and his leg, and he goes, oh man, my leg is fine. What's He's trying to look at his leg. Wow, my leg is okay. So he gets up, he walks around, everything's fine. So what does he do? He drives back the car, goes back to work with the two monks. And the two monks are saying to him, "What? We told you to go back and get some rest. Why are you here?" You know? And Goji says, "Look, my leg is fine now. I can walk, no problem." So he said he worked for the rest of the day, and the next day he went with Lerpang Shu on the trip, no problem. So the third time, Master Hua saved me. So he just had 3 stories they wanted to tell. But then he had another story. Oh, I actually have another story. I just remember. And over the last few years, Guoji has been helping with a project in the back campus of CDTB. We call it the Webby Project, the Wonderful Enlightenment Buddhist Institute. It's a pretty large project. Many square footage, a lot of work, a lot of planning. So he's been working on it for a number of years. And he says a lot of pressure, being at CTDB, many eyes are watching you and you're working, and a lot of pressure, not easy. So finally he prays to Master Hua, asking Master Hua for help. Please help. This is not easy. So then he has a dream. And he has a dream of him driving back from the work site in the back campus to his home. And on the way back, he drives past the wordless hall. The wordless hall is where Master Hua used to live when he was at CDTB. And now it's become a kind of memorial place for Master Hua, where we keep the Buddha's Sharira, Master Empty Cloud Sharira, and the Master Hua Sharira. And many of Master Hua's mementos are in that building. But as he was driving by Wordless Hall, he saw Master Hua standing there, and one of the Bhikshunis was actually bowing to Master Hua. So Georgie stops the car and pays his respect to Master Hua. And says, Shifu, please, compassionately bless us. We're working on this project. We need your support. We need your blessing. So he said, Master Hua looks at him and smiles and says, "You can do this job. 你们可以的." Says, "You can do it. Just don't get angry." 不要发脾气，不要生气. And then he says, Master Hua turns around and walks away. And I thought that was very funny, because then Goji says, and that's, Master Hua knows, because we're just always getting angry working on the project. Everyone's getting angry. We're always fighting and always getting angry. So Master Hua just tells us, don't get angry. You can do it. Don't get angry. And to me, I thought that last dream was particularly humorous, because all the other dreams had a little bit of some kind of magic in them. Right? Master Hua fixes something that was, how could Master Hua know? And then the last one, Master Hua teaches Guoji directly to his potential, and directly to what's needed. So you could say fixing not just the external environment, not just the body, but the heart, the mind. And so to me, I thought, I'm not one who have dreams of Master Hua. But I think perhaps each of us, having learned about Master Hua and his wisdom and his compassion, maybe have a Master Hua in our own heart. That when we really deeply listen, we're really sincere and respectful, that inner voice of wisdom can come out and guide us in our lives. So perhaps Guoji in his inner Master Hua voice, knows, oh, maybe I should have checked out that gas line. Or maybe I should have checked out that survey. Or maybe I can really be of service to the Dharma and need to heal. Or maybe I really don't need to get angry anymore. Right? So I think for all of us, we relate to these different realms in different ways. But when it comes to living a life based on kindness and wisdom, I recommend you can ask yourself, what would Master Hua do? If we do something, what would Master Hua do? What would the advice Master Hua would give me as I embark on this project or journey? I think probably won't be too far off from the Dharma. Okay, so today I actually have to do a class for the Shrangama Sutra, so we won't be having the 3 steps, 1 bow, but we'll begin again tomorrow and continue with our cultivation. I hope you can do your practice at home, and otherwise wish you a good day. Amitofo.